My name is Sean. I'm from Orange Cloud. Before I begin, I would like to share with you what is Orange Cloud. Basically, Orange Cloud works with ERP vendors throughout the world by enabling partners and vendors who actually deliver ERP solutions to their customers with our platform, which is called eMOBIQ. Our unique differentiation of eMOBIQ is that we focus heavily on our visual ERP connectors. And one thing about eMOBIQ is that using eMOBIQ to deliver mobile applications requires absolutely zero coding. Okay? So I shall begin by sharing with you. Now, we basically want to deliver innovative mobile solutions to customers and enterprises, and we want to transform their environment and business process through mobility. So I will also share with you how iSTAMPZ came about as well. Okay? Now, so like I mentioned, we want every organization to be seamless, and we actually want to deliver that vision through mobility. That is why we have these two products. One is eMOBIQ, one is iSTAMPZ. Okay. So this is basically just some sales trends and market figures. We know the enterprise mobility market is huge. More and more customers are actually seriously embarking and looking at using mobility in their own enterprise. But we will share with you more about how we actually use mobile as a strategy to control workflows within the organization as well as the external ecosystem. Okay. Now, eMOBIQ. So basically, eMOBIQ, it's a platform that enables users to create apps. We are talking about not functional consultants as well as technical consultants, both being able to use eMOBIQ to create mobile applications. Alright. Of course, the end goal ultimately is that for minor customizations, maybe even the customer can do it themselves. Okay. Now, so eMOBIQ is a zero-coding cloud-based platform that relies on drag and drop, that is integrated to various ERP like SAP Business One, Navision, Sage 300, and the list goes on. At the same time, we can also connect to various databases as well. Okay, and we can deploy across various mobile platforms from iOS, Android, Windows. Alright. So I want to emphasize that we actually use a very visual approach to build application logic, business logic, also drag and drop to define the page design. Okay. Now the key thing to note in eMOBIQ is that it's actually two products in one. Reason being is because on one hand we have the page designer, which is fully drag and drop. At the same time, we also we function as a gateway to connect to various systems. So we can actually pull information from one ERP, send it to the other, or pull information from an ERP and CRM and maybe a third-party system into one page, and then process the data through user input, and then send the data back into another ERP. So we can do this kind of things, okay? Because the functionality of connecting to various systems is there. All right. So like I mentioned, okay. So actually, the value we bring to partners is that even though maybe you may be focused in delivering B1 or SAP solutions to your customers, but you may come across Okay, in your sales guys may come across customers who are on other ERP systems. Now, many times we see that there are commonality between business process, right? So let's say you use eMOBIQ to build an app for van sales, and you come across a customer maybe who is in Navision, right? Basically, you can still maintain the same look and feel, same functionality, just change the mapping of the connectors and modify the workflow a bit, and there you go. You may have an app that can connect to another ERP. So this exposes and opens up your market, okay, very quickly. So you're not limited, right, just based on what ERP you are selling, and providing to the customers. So like I mentioned, okay, eMOBIQ emphasis is on drag and drop. So our approach actually helps to make it easy to do debugging as well as deployment, deployment of apps to customers, okay? And one thing to note is that when I use eMOBIQ, I do not have any software that I need to install on my laptop, okay? Because everything is in the cloud. Meaning to say you can work from anywhere, right? You can get help, for your eMOBIQ applications from anyone, all right, including us, okay? Now, backend connectors, like I mentioned, we have connectivity to many ERP systems, all right? So I will also show you some of the powerful drag and drop interface. Now I have to clarify something. Now we have templates in eMOBIQ. Sometimes customers do get, may mixed up, saying that, are we template based platform? I would say yes and no, because we have both. You can build your applications from scratch, right? By dragging and dropping the application, the different pages and layouts and functions. But you can also make use of templates, right? I will also showcase to you how powerful it is when we mix both to deliver the solution quickly. Okay. Now, let's go straight into the demo, all right? Okay, let me log out. Let me log into another account. Okay, so as you can see, I have various components here. Okay, which allows me to be able to drag and drop any of the components onto my workspace, in this phone screen. So take note, I only have one page. Okay, only have one page and it's blank. So usually before that, before beginning building an application, I will go to services to build a connector to the backend. Okay, so you can see table and data. Basically, table and data components is actually for me to build offline applications, right? So what I'll do is I will store the information, okay, from the connector, right? Store the information from the connector, and then store it into the local table, local data component, and display it to the user. But in today's demo, I'm just going to show you how I make use of the connector to connect and pull information. All right. So now let me just create a connection to backend ERP. I just randomly select one. Okay. So now, usually most ERP have different companies, so I'll just select this default one. As you can see, these are the web services published by this ERP. Alright, so I want to do a item listing app. I'll just create a connector, map it. Okay, so what I've done is I've asked eMOBIQ build a connection for me to this ERP, and when I click on the table, these fields that you can see, okay, over here, these are all dynamically retrieved from the backend. Okay, it's all dynamically retrieved. Alright, so in this backend ERP, description is actually the product name. So let me just change it, name, and maybe I want to show some price. Okay, so right now what I'll do is I will just generate a data list, okay, and then I will select maybe this template. Okay, so done. So I have basically built a page based on the fields that I want to display in that page. So you can see when I go to page design, the page is there. Okay, with a header, based on some templates I've defined. Okay, so now, but if I click preview, it's going to be blank because the default page is still home, which is blank. Unless I add a button and make this like a menu page to jump the page to page item list. So instead of that, I'll go to global attributes, I'll go to page item list. Okay, and change the default page to the one that was generated. So now, let me preview that. So you can see, I'm pulling live information from the backend ERP. Alright, okay. So now, this is the way we do it in version 2, but let me show you traditionally how we have done it in version 1. Okay, let me go back to home, drag panel, drag a data list, then I map the data list to the connector, and then when I drag a label into the data list, I connect it to the backend field, which is description. Save. Alright, let me change the default page back to home. Okay. There you go, same. So we've got the live data. Right? But I think it's more elegant, right? The way I've done it through version 2. Okay? So like I mentioned, I'll also show you some things. For example, tablets, right? Okay. So nowadays I sometimes get lazier. I want to do a login page, I'll just drag. And there you go. I have a functioning login page. Okay? Right, login page. So do we have more advanced templates? Yes. Right? You can even build your own template and save it. Okay. Supports tabbing. Right, asynchronous tabbing. Menus. Okay. Alright. So you've got complex templates, but I mean, usually for enterprise apps, you won't need such functions like YouTube and all that. Okay. So usually when I come up to this point, okay, I'm often asked, okay, so Sean, how do we use eMOBIQ to handle application and business logic? Because it's fully drag and drop, right? So let me show you. Drag panel, drag button. Okay. So now I can add event functionality to this button. So you have global functions, you have app functions, device functions, string functions, math, array, object. Now, usually to handle application and business logic, it is these comparison functions that are important. This is if and else. Alright, so how do we use a function? Let me show you just very quickly. Do a dialog box. Now, usually content, if it's manually inputted, is usually an error message. Okay, so I can manually input this content and display it. Okay, right? But we can use this function to call another function. So let's do maybe call a math function, multiplication. So this multiplication asks me for two values, value 1, value 2. So maybe value 1, we get it from another function instead. So maybe a division. Okay, or it could be a user input. However you like to define your logic and workflow, you just chain it up, just map it accordingly. Right? Let's say 1000 divided by 100 is 10 multiplied by 88. There you go. Alright. So using this concept, we have built all kinds of applications. So let me show you application. Okay. So this is a van sales application. Okay, you can see the preview is the app, right? But let me go one step further. Let me show it to you from the phone, directly. Okay, this is from my phone screen. So let me close all the apps. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some applications. Okay. So let's say this is van sales application. Sales. So now I'm going to select the customer. Okay. So, okay, for this app, I've configured my sales account to display all the functions for me. Right. Of course, usually when you deploy it to the ground, you encapsulate the functions of what you want to show based on the role of the person. Okay. So a warehouse guy is not going to see all this van sales functionality. So let me use this to showcase some of eMOBIQ's capability. Alright, so these pictures are all from the backend ERP. So let me do a order. Okay. So maybe let's try to order Sean beer. Maybe order 2000. Okay. Order an Erdinger. Okay. Maybe a Singer beer. Alright. So when I go to cart, these are the items, right? So let me try to check out. So I cannot check out is because you can see credit limit has exceeded, right? So I can collect payment from customer of outstanding invoices, right? Alright, so instead of doing this, I can let me just go to my cart. and modify the quantity. Alright, 2. Okay, then let me check out. So what I've shown you is that mobility is an extension of your back-end workflow. So I'm sure that definitely credit limit, is an important feature, right, that ERPs have. So as you can see, I've demonstrated, right, though we make complex functions simplified through the mobile, we still adhere to the policies in the backend, right? So now, let's say I try to submit the order. So when I submit this order, what is happening? Basically, a sales order is being created in the backend. Okay? So mobile as a strategy is very important. Okay? Oh, and I got a notification at the top. So I'll go into that later. So mobile as a strategy is very important to simplify. Because when we simplify complex actions, this will result in increased adoption on the ground. So when people on the ground start to use these applications that are powered by the backend ERP, the customer will actually benefit from their initial investment in terms of their ROI on their investment in their ERP. So simplification translates to increased adoption translates to changed business process, optimized business process. The organization becomes leaner, becomes meaner. Alright? So let me continue with the van sales app. So after the order is keyed in, usually the warehouse guy will be able to see that, okay, so I have to pick up two quantities of Sean beer. So I pick up from my bin location, Erlinger, Singer beer, and then I transfer to the staging location. Alright? So that my driver can pick up, right, from the staging location into the van. Okay? So basically in the back end we are also doing item transfer. So the items will be loaded to the van. Alright? And then let's go for delivery now. So this is where I'm going to take the opportunity to showcase to you our iSTAMPZ product. So one thing to note is that in deploying ERP and mobile applications, we found out that customers still cannot go fully paperless in Asia because they still have to bring the physical copy of the delivery order note for customer to sign and for customer to stamp. Okay, so we're talking about the rubber stamp. So that's where we invented this thing called iStamp. So in Asia, we call it a digital company stamp. Of course, but when I'm in Europe or I'm in Australia or America, I will position it more like a proof of identity, right? Approval, of the workflow. So let me do a signature. Let me sign this. Let me put a smiley face. Okay. And let me stamp the transaction. So what I'm doing now, of course it's hard to see, through the webinar, is that I'm taking a card, which is an NFC card. Alright? So NFC stands for Near Field Communications. Okay? So some of the banking cards in Singapore and some of the countries are NFC enabled. Maybe Visa PayWave. Some of you may know about that, right? Apple Pay relies on NFC technology also, Samsung Pay as well. So, and now in Malaysia and Indonesia, the ICs are NFC enabled for in UK. So, basically NFC has been around for a while, but no one has kind of used it in this manner. That's why when we filed the patent, we were awarded the patent for iStamp. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm a driver. I will ask the customer, can you endorse this transaction using your iStamp? So he will take out the card and tap the card and key in the iStamp pin. When that happens, it will check with the gateway if the details are right, the company stamp is issued to this transaction. So bear in mind, my name is displayed as well. But if let's say I have a colleague, maybe Stanley. Stanley is the one that issues the stamp. It will be his name. All right. Currently, if you can see, the record, the tracking number at the bottom, the last digit is 60. Last two digits is 64. Okay. So these are all dynamically generated. So when I click confirm, when I click yes. Okay. What I'm doing now is basically the PDF is generated. Alright. And what happens is, because the whole process is electronic, because I can generate the PDF, I can send the PDF to the customer who issued the company stamp. Of course, in this case, it's me, okay? Because I've configured myself to be Food Junction. So I get the email in PDF copy. At the same time, alright, the customer that this driver works for, okay, his ERP system will have a record of this PDF. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so this, you can see, this was the order that I placed just now, alright, quantity 2 for Sean beer, I try to make it unique, so 211, okay, and for this PDF, alright, there you go, my smiley face. Transaction number is number 64. Okay. So this deal is also attached to the backend ERP. So in B1, it will be attached under attachments. Okay. So now something I want to share with you. iSTAMPZ is not just for supply chain. It can be for many other processes. Like for example, cash collection process as well. When the customer is paid, the sales guy, you can get the customer to endorse the transaction. It could be even for maybe inspection records, service order log sheets, okay, and then maybe purchase order approvals as well by management. So the list goes on and on. All right. I believe you guys will actually know much better than me what other use cases we can deploy iSTAMPZ in. Okay. So now maybe what I'll do is also show you, okay, apps. Maybe let me use this app. Okay. So I am going to make an order. Okay. So all this UOM is all from B1. Okay. All right. Oops, let me try that again. Give me a second, let me check. Okay. So sales order created, activity closed. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to B1. So there you go, you see, sales order is created. All right, one quantity each. Okay. All right. So, maybe let me show you as well. So, where would the signed deliveries be stored? I did this yesterday, so there you go. Right? So the PDF is also attached to the B1 record. Okay? So the value of this that we bring in, alright, to customers is huge. You know, you can cut down on a lot of admin stuff because they do not need to wait for end of the day for the driver to bring back the delivery order note, right? And then scan it in and then manually attach it to the record, right? Everything is seamless because it's electronic, it's digital. So let me continue on with the slides, right? Okay, I've walked through the functions briefly for eMOBIQ. I've shown you an integrated solution where we use eMOBIQ and iSTAMPZ to deliver an integrated solution, you know, to end users. I've shown you some simple apps, you know, that we did that's connected to backend ERP. I've shown you some of the van sales applications, right? Now, this is something that I want to share with you. Okay, it's a strategy that we often share with our partners. Okay, so just a quick introduction. Now, the circle in the center, all right, that could be a customer of yours, maybe in manufacturing. So maybe they may manufacture noodles, right? The next circle, okay, over here, that will actually represent maybe their vendors or subcontractors. It could be a third-party logistic company. The outermost circle will be the customers, right, of this particular organization. So imagine if we use mobile as a strategy to deploy what I call micro mobile applications across the various ecosystems. So meaning to say within this company, right? Maybe their warehouse guys will be empowered with micro applications, right? For their warehouse item pickup and stock take. And then for the 3PL, the third-party logistic company, they will be empowered by, you know, where the list of deliveries to pick up and then to deliver, right? And you can get them to get the customer to sign and stamp using iSTAMPZ. And ultimately, the order may come in by customer self-order. So the customer may be given a customer self-order app, right, where they can key in their own orders and the sales order is created in the backend ERP. Right? You don't have to call a call center or fax in an order anymore. You just empower the customer to do self-order. So we actually simplify and streamline the various ecosystem. And we are also using mobile as a strategy to control the workflow, to get different your different vendors or and also people within your own organization to follow a workflow that is controlled using mobile. Okay, so like I mentioned, this actually is a very powerful strategy that more and more customers, more and more companies identify with this, right? Because after all, ERP, it's only a certain subset of users that are ERP users, right? You don't cut across all the way down, you know, in an organization. Usually the drivers or the the warehouse executive, right? I'm not talking about, maybe the warehouse manager may use ERP, but not the warehouse executive, right? But they can be empowered by apps which are very simple, yet the data comes from the backend, right? and they be trained, to be able to use these apps very quickly. So in this way, there's a lot of adoption of mobility, but this mobility, the data is coming from the ERP. So we actually overall increase the ROI that a customer has initially invested in the initial ERP system. So mobile as a strategy, coupled together with iSTAMPZ, makes and helps our partners to also do business process optimization for their companies, for their customers. Okay, so we are here to empower, as many partners as possible with all this capability. Okay, through our eMOBIQ platform as well as through our iSTAMPZ gateway. All right. Now, one thing I want to show you, okay, before I forget and continue on, is that many times customers often ask me, Sean, I do not have an iSTAMPZ card. So what can I do? They say I don't want to carry an iSTAMPZ card. I don't want to carry an NFC card. Is it possible for me to use iSTAMPZ? So I politely reply, yes. Okay. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'll try to show you my screen on my other phone. So let's use technology. Okay. So I'm trying to show you, okay, screen on my other phone. So I can log into an iSTAMPZ app, request for QR. Okay? Request for QR. So I will generate a 60-second valid QR code. Okay? So now let me quickly, okay, go to app. Alright, I want to stamp the last page over here, okay? So I will stamp this. So I can click on NFC, right, or QR code. So what I'll do is, I'll scan the QR code. Okay, there you go. So transaction number 65. So now I can also sign this application, this PDF. Maybe sign this page, sign here, and maybe sign here. Alright, so you see my signature. Okay. So but the key thing about this app is I can scan the QR code. So whether is it QR code or is it NFC card, it works the same way. And now, when I go into the iSTAMPZ backend, pull up today's report. So you can see the first application I tried, okay, this is the time, right? Record number 64, I am not sending any location data. Okay, now this is purposeful. But for my PDF signing, okay, I am sending the location data. So this is where you can see my current location. Alright. So just now I actually put up a record. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I put a record, since 1st of June, to show more data. So this is my account, right? So you can see these are the locations I've either showcased, or helped to deploy iSTAMPZ. All right. Okay. So basically, I've been to quite a few locations the past few months, right, to showcase and to help to deploy iSTAMP. All right. Okay. So let me continue on with the webinar. Right. Continue on with my slides. Now, so iSTAMP, just to reinforce, basically we use that to help organizations achieve a paperless business environment. Right? So we know the rubber stamp is an issue. Right? Because between B2B transactions, you need to use the rubber stamp for endorsement. Right? iSTAMP is secure. Okay. And then you need a pin with the card. Or you can use a QR code and the app. Okay. So I've demoed iSTAMP to you. I have shown you, right? In the backend location, we can have the location data as well. So the thing about iSTAMP is that we are able to do business process optimization. We can transform customers' workflow, right? Change their process, make it easy, right? So like I mentioned, there's all kinds of documents that and transactions that you can use iSTAMP for. I may not know as much business process or potential applications of iSTAMPs. I think you guys will know it better. Okay. So it's secure, right? It's a digital company stamp. It complements mobile workflow. You can use it with NFC or QR code. So the key thing is, right, it's secure. There's a genuine level of authentication. You need to have there are many steps involved. We've spoken to many lawyers as well in different countries. It's all about circumstantial evidence, right? It's traceable, right? Because why do I mention circumstantial evidence? Is because it's a number of steps for a person to own an iSTAMP account, and the act of taking the card and tapping the opposite party's device, right? When somebody asks you for your iSTAMP, you're tapping on their device, and then you key in your PIN, right? It reduces dispute, it improves lead time, right? And it helps to increase productivity. Okay. So now, what are the benefits of being an eMOBIQ partner? We want to together with the partners, build holistic solutions to win deals. Right, you want to simplify critical process to mobile. Basically using eMOBIQ, I think from the quick and rough demo, you are able to see that by leveraging on eMOBIQ, we actually can cut down development and deployment time, by more than 70 to 80%. Okay, so many people often say, that they have platforms that you develop once, deploy to many. For me, it's drag and drop once using eMOBIQ, deploy to many. Okay, so you can build verticals, you can differentiate, from competitors. You can enhance, and extend, right, existing ERP workflows to mobile, right, but through mobility. At the same time, also managing of deployment and development easily. Okay. Because it's a visual approach to doing applications, it's very easy for another developer, right, to look at one another's code and be able to debug, all right. So the benefits of mobility, I'm sure you have come across quite a few examples, right? It's basically to increase productivity, reduce manual tasks, reduce potentially human errors. It provides better visibility of your data because you get it captured there and then live. You streamline business process, and we help organizations become leaner, become meaner, And also, through iSTAMP, we go green, go paperless. We reduce the reliance we have on paper. But you see, by reducing our reliance on paper, we actually go electronic, and electronic brings about all these benefits, provided we make sure that we optimize the business process as well. Yeah. But the business process optimization is a natural translation in the adoption of iSTAMP in companies' business process and workflow. All right. Okay. So now,